Karrion Kross appeared on the Ariel Helwani show this week, the same week that his new documentary dropped on YouTube on his channel, which now has been viewed, by the way, by almost 800,000 people. I watched it. It was very well done. He's got a special connection, clearly, with his fans. That really is one of the things that came through watching the doc. You can tell just based on all the social media support for him. And because a lot of what he talked about overlaps with what he discussed with Ariel, I'll just run through what he talked about on Ariel's show. He confirmed that his WWE contract expired on August 10th and that he has not signed a new deal with the company. He said this is not a work, even though he understands why people might think it is. I mean, given things that have happened recently with, the R-Truth stuff and the Seth Rollins injury. He says he was offered a new deal the Tuesday before his contract expired, at which point he asked how the company came to the valuation that they did. He was not given that information, and then he was told that he had 24 hours to accept the offer or it would be rescinded. So they spoke again the next day, and when he asked if they had that information that he had asked for, any metrics as to how they came to the number they came to, they said, no, we don't. At which point he said that he can't make an informed decision without that information, and they pulled their offer. Wanting to know how they arrived at their offer is a fair question. It's probably not one that they get very often, but it's a fair question. And if they don't want to provide that information and to put a 24-hour deadline on it like they're a fucking kidnapper is very weird, especially after they had weeks. They had weeks. They had months even before his deal expired, as they do with others, to make an offer or to say, hey, let's start having a conversation about this. It's coming up pretty soon, right? They didn't do that. Instead, they wait until almost the very last minute and they say, hey, sign this now or else we're pulling it. Why the time crunch? It sounds very shady. It would make me very nervous to put my signature on anything if they're in that much of a rush. He also says WWE did not make a contract offer to Scarlett. And when he asked them why, he claims he was told, after we deal with you, we'll deal with her. Now, would they have? Or did they want to get him signed because really they wanted to keep him and not her? Who knows? To me, Kross works better as a package with Scarlett, but that's kind of what it sounds like to me. I mean, maybe they only wanted one and not the other. I mean, it's not like they ever did anything with Scarlett. And I can never understand that. Like, she's wrestled before. It's not like she can't work or take bumps. She was barely ever even given the chance to speak. Right? She has a mouth. She can speak. She can cut promos. I mean, they didn't have her doing anything. He said there were people in the company who thought his post-WrestleMania 41 promo, where he sat down with Sam Roberts and Megan Morant, I think it was, that there were people in the company who thought it was a shoot. That's how convincing he was. He was under the impression the promo was okayed beforehand and that they all knew it was a work. He found out later on that Triple H apparently was not very happy about it, and he had to go explain everything to him so he understood. And that right there might help explain a lot of things, because there was a lot of truth in what he was saying in that promo, and it felt genuine. It felt like a lot of what he was saying there had been built up inside him for a long time, and it was coming right from the heart. And if Triple H was not aware that he was going to do it, which I find hard to believe, but if he didn't, I mean, it sounded like it was aimed right at him. Even if that wasn't his intent. Triple H is the guy, right? He's the head of creative. He's the puppeteer. So a lot of it was aimed at him, and maybe that's how Triple H felt. Like, oh shit, this guy, he's taking aim at me. He's making me look bad. He's making me look inept. He crossed the boss. No pun intended. He crossed the boss, right? He made Triple H look like a fool, talking about being left off cards, having his time cut, being told years ago by Bill Goldberg to be a good soldier. So he was being a good soldier, and this is what being a good soldier gets you. You ignored the fans. I never asked to wrestle Randy Orton at WrestleMania this year. That happened organically, and you ignored it. Nothing against Joe Hendry, but you ignored it. He mentioned that. And this is what I'm talking about here is the promo months ago that he cut. In that same promo, he said, when I got eliminated from the Andre the Giant Battle Royal on SmackDown, the crowd told you how they felt about me and you ignored it. And then at the very end of the promo, he said, guy in the suit and tie in the truck, go fuck yourself. That's from Killer Kross. And then he stormed off. And he did a hell of a job convincing people that that was real. Got a lot of people talking. But like I said, even if it wasn't real, even if the promo was a work and he told people in advance that this is what I'm going to do, it's like CM Punk and the pipe bomb. Like, they knew CM Punk was going to sit on that stage that night in Las Vegas and cut that pipe bomb. As I recall, I don't think Vince McMahon even wanted to know what he was going to say. They just had an outline for, okay, here's what you're going to do. And then at the right moment, we're going to cut you off. And probably the anti-bullying campaign was probably the trigger, because that's when they cut his mic. But I don't think, if I remember correctly, I don't think he even wanted Vince to tell him what he was going to say. But even though that was a work, it was a work shoot, because a lot of what Punk said in that promo back in 2011 was from the heart. Those were his real feelings. They were just using it as part of the show. And you can't tell me that a large part of what Kross, if not all of what Kross was talking about in that promo earlier this year, was how he really felt. Those emotions were 100% real. But that's what makes for the best promos, is when you blend fantasy and reality. But if Triple H was upset with it after and Kross had to go explain it to him, that may have sealed his fate right then and there. He said he had a gut feeling all day at SummerSlam that his match with Sami Zayn might be his last. He had a friend tell him, hey, you should do something for the live crowd, like as you're leaving. I don't know what that means. Maybe wave to them or something. Give him some kind of a signal. But he said he didn't want to take away from Sami's moment, since the moment wasn't about him. It was supposed to be about Sami. So like if Kross, even if the match is over and Kross is leaving and he like waves or he makes some sort of hand gesture or something to the live crowd, like all of a sudden somebody records that on social media, they put it up on Twitter, it's like, oh shit, look what Kross said, look what Kross did, is he leaving? Like the conversation automatically now shifts over to Karrion Kross instead of Sami Zayn. But he said big promotions have reached out to him since last Sunday, but AEW has not been among them. I've said this many times. My opinion, I don't think AEW is a good fit for Karrion Kross. I just don't see him as someone Tony Khan is going to have a real interest in pushing any more than WWE did. But here's the other thing, okay? He was very open in this interview about wanting to go back to WWE and still hoping that they can restart a dialogue. He said, I'm not trying to turn this into a game. It's not a game for me. It's my life. I'm very big on loyalty, but loyalty is a two-way street. I'm very interested in trying to recover what I think is easily recoverable, but it takes two people to come together and talk about it. I'm still here. The goal has always been to be with WWE. My wife and I still want to be with WWE. I'm still at the table for conversations. I did not step out of the conversation. Now imagine if you're Tony Khan hearing that. Why would he want to sign Karrion Kross? Like, AEW throwing its arms open for him makes no sense. It doesn't make sense for them or for Kross. Like, why would Tony Khan sign someone who he thinks is going to bounce the first chance he gets if WWE shows even a mild interest in taking him back? And for Kross, AEW is the one place that WWE doesn't play nice with. But for Tony, after everything with Aleister Black and Miro and Ricky Starks and Penta and Rey Fenix, like here's someone who is openly admitting that he wants to go back to WWE and he never wanted to leave. Why would he push someone like that? Like, it's why I said if he signs with anybody but WWE, TNA is the place that would make the most sense. You want to go back to WWE? You go work for TNA for a year. And at that point, that might be your pipeline right back into WWE. Now, I know he and Scarlett had issues there previously. It was a messy split, but it's new management now. Don Callis is not there anymore, if you know about those rumors. Don Callis is actually in AEW now. That could be another reason for him not to go there. But I think Kross is going to do well on the indies for a while. He can take his time. You know, maybe he and WWE start talking again. I don't know why he would think things would be any different next time. You know, I mean, if they wanted to do something more substantial with him, they would have. And they would not have waited until 5 days before his contract expired to offer him a new deal. They already fired him once before. Now they let him go. It's like you smacked me across the face twice. Why would I let you do it a third time? But I get it. For some people, it's their dream job to work there. WWE is the mecca to them. I get it. But on the indies, I think Kross is going to be able to show off more of his creativity when it comes to his promos. He's very good with that. It's too bad we never got to see more of that on WWE television in terms of his social media promos and some of the stuff he was doing there.